Yala with a pioneering vision for sustainable luxury tourism within Yala National Park. Under his guidance, the camp has set industry standards for eco-friendly practices and guest experiences. Mr. Pramudit is actively involved in Pico Trail project, serving as a senior consultant for entrepreneurship and operations. His leadership promotes responsible tourism practices that preserve natural habitats and support community development. Mr. Pramudit is instrumental in transforming the Pico Trail into a sustainable, smart trail model. His career embodies a commitment to innovation, environmental stewardship, and community engagement in Sri Lanka's hospitality sector. Mr. Thenabadu, welcome on board for the panel discussion. All right, so all the experts are here with me now for the panel on building the bridges in a divided world, where, as we all are, watching the newses, following news channels or YouTubes or whatsoever, we see all these conflicts and instability everywhere that we engage in. So in such a time, it is critically important for a very sensitive social activity like tourism to keep peace in the society. In fact, for a tourist to visit or travel, to get that mindset, peace is important. People are traveling in search of peace as well. So therefore, as I mentioned earlier in the morning as well, it is critically important peace in a society to prosper. So with that brief note, I would like to draw my first question to Mr. Kure and Mr. Razin. So why is the theme tourism and peace for this year's World Tourism Day particularly relevant in the light of global conflicts and instability? Mr. Kure? Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Professor. Well, like you mentioned, the current day, the issues are facing, definitely peace and tourism is a must, because like I also mentioned in my talk earlier, globally we are facing a lot of turmoil at the moment, which can affect not only those regions, but the entire world as a whole, especially the Middle Eastern conflict and the conflict in Ukraine and Russia is causing a lot of difficulties for the people, and this is all, most of it is all politically driven agendas, where certain individuals, for their either political gain or their own benefit, are causing all these troubles, which is unfortunately affecting so many innocent people. When you see those images, especially in Gaza, so many innocent children, the way they bomb hospitals and so on, whether Hamas is right or the Israel government, nobody is right at the moment. Basically, in most people's view, it's what they are doing is not at all acceptable. But unfortunately, some countries, due to their political power, are treated differently. So these things can definitely have a lot of negative impact on the global, not only tourism, but also the global economy as well, which can lead to mass hunger, poverty, all of these. So it is of utmost importance that the world leaders also get together and try to put an end to these type of conflicts, because peace is of utmost. Like you said, for tourists, now I think a lot of people especially for Sri Lanka, they were saying the election is happening and whether people will travel or not. But honestly, as thankfully in Sri Lanka, our election was very peaceful. And if you are a tourist traveling anywhere in the world, even if we are traveling, you don't look at who the president or who is in power. What you look at is if that country is safe and secure. So even this travel warning which was put by the US, is probably more a political statement than anything else. Because maybe some of the students may not know, but the NPP was very closely aligned, or is closely aligned to China and most of the funding, etc. So the US also wants to show their power that you shouldn't get close to anybody. So these are all agendas that each country has, which can cause a lot of trouble. I think especially Mr. Malit Fernando, through the Love Sri Lanka and the Pro-Tourism Alliance, tried a bold statement, and it was very credible of him that he, in a very diplomatic but still a fairly direct manner, he was questioning how, because if you see, Sri Lanka is still a very safe country. Our election campaign was very safe. If you look at the US election campaign, Donald Trump was right, he was twice they tried to shoot him, right? And one or two people actually died while at those rallies. So unfortunately, we get a stepmotherly treatment because of the country we live in, and certain countries it's actually much more dangerous to travel to America, because the largest number of like casual or mass shootings happens in the US. Because in America, buying a gun is like buying a bottle of alcohol. You just walk into a shop and it's like a bottle display you have. So the problem is these type of issues cause a lot of trouble, and but definitely in tourism can play a pivotal role in helping the peace in the world and ensure that all of us, whether from where you live, can live in harmony.
Mr. Razin, are you in agreement with the views of Mr. Kure on the relevance of this year's theme?
Definitely, Professor. Definitely, Professor. First of all, very good afternoon to everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me for this Tourism Day event. I need to thank Professor Ruan Ranasinghe, and I work together at Expressive. He was mentioning about the projects. He was the project in charge when I was the general manager taking over Heritage Madurai in 2008. So I was based in India, he was based in Colombo. So a lot of support was given to me, and today I'm very proud he's the dean of this university. Number two, the lecturers, thank you very much, and the future general managers who are seated. Our industry need youngsters like you. I think Mr. Kure, who is seated next to me, is the youngest managing director of our industry right now. So it will turn into a lot of youngsters in the future for tourism. When we started, we didn't have this opportunity because there were a lot of people and there was no brands to come and work in Sri Lanka. But there is enough of opportunities in the industry. Today's topic is peace and tourism. I think we are the only country in the world who finished a war in 2009. None of the countries in the world has finished a war. This year there was 26 elections in the world. I think if you take our election, was one of the matured, well-behaved elections, zero tolerance, and I think all of us will agree. The other election will be better than this. Sri Lanka is getting mature day by day. It's a new movement which is happening by the youngsters. So tourism will be the lower hanging fruit for the whole country. When I get an opportunity, I'll talk about that. Coming back to peace, with peace coming into our country, Jaffna, North, East, developed for tourism. Today, Jetwin has gone to Jaffna, the first brand to go to Jaffna, and other brands are going to Jaffna. And the people in that area, North and East, are getting into tourism. That's a huge involvement and a big bold decision from Jetwin to go, not today, a good 8 years ago. If you see today, the airports have been re-elected in Jaffna to fly to Chennai. So it's a very different way of having tourism from Chennai to Jaffna. Then if you see, a ferry service has started right. A ferry service has started in Jaffna as well. A ferry service has started in Jaffna. Today there is a huge movement for tourism and trade through ferry. So there are a lot of peace happening between our big brothers in India and Sri Lanka. It's not only tourism has improved with this peace. Today, most of us who lived in this part of South has never seen Jaffna, has seen Jaffna now. As a hotelier, we used to get fish from, we didn't get fish at that time from north and the east. It was from the west and the south. Today, you will be able to get fish from all part of Sri Lanka. So the fishing industry in the north and east is also bringing a lot of fish to our hotels. If you see, once upon a time, our fish, when we bring it to our hotels, they are in the freezer almost for 2 months. Because of we didn't have that capacity to have the fish. But today, every other day, the fish is being brought, so the fish is being fresh for everyone to be served. Today, with peace coming up, I think a lot of things can change with tourism. With tourism, there's a lot of new brands has come down to Sri Lanka. Today, there is more brands to come to Sri Lanka as well. As all of you all know, a new John Keel's opened a Ceremonial Life in Colombo. I think the opportunity is about 2,500 staff to work in that hotel. Yes, from the south there are a lot of staff going, but I think we need to give that opportunity, because I also got an opportunity to travel overseas. Our industry is nurturing youngsters like you all to take over jobs. I started as a waiter 30 years ago. At that time, we didn't have Google. If you have to do a cocktail, there's a book called Crimson Cesarani. It's a 500-page book. You need to turn to do your cocktail to get the right recipe. But today, with a palm top, you can get the garnish to everything. So with this, people in the world want to see Sri Lanka in a different way, and they are coming to the country to make sure it's not only to see, because there are a lot of heritage in our country, there are a lot of things to learn and to see. So I hope peace with this new government which we are going through will make a big impact in the future for tourism and peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Razin. Next, I would like to turn to Mr. Gunodana. And Mr. Gunodana, can you brief on as to how this tourism and peace can be built into the tourism operations, as well as to promote peace, as well as mutual understanding, or particularly of the industries that you all are involved in?
Yeah. Thank you very much, and speakers and panel members, they emphasize the value of peace for their industries, and also the same value from the same size. For aviation industry also, peace is very valuable. Without peace, we can't operate civil operations, but for military operations, of course, peace, no peace is the most important thing. Anyway, for aviation operations, it is very important to have peace. Now, most close experiences just after the war, for 30 years, in 2009, our industry, passenger operations, cargo operations also developed very much, and we were able to reach the maximum number, 11 million passenger operations at Colombo Airport in 2018. And out of these 11 million passenger operations, 2.3 million are tourists. So you see about 1/4 of passenger operations to Sri Lanka from tourism industry. That is because of peace again. And Mr. Rashid mentioned Jetwin Jaffna Hotel and also aviation operations to Jaffna Airport. Now currently there are 2 airlines operating to Jaffna connecting Chennai. Again, a different culture and different industry areas, but it's connecting to a different culture in Sri Lanka. Jaffna, we can see almost similar culture in Sri Lanka and similar culture in India, but of course there are a lot of differences. Anyway, this aviation industry connect all these different cultures, not only India and Sri Lanka, because of the aviation operation from all over the world, all over the globe, a lot of passengers, a lot of tourists are arriving to Sri Lanka, and because of this, because of the peace, they are arriving to Sri Lanka and explore Sri Lanka. If there are no peace in Colombo, in Sri Lanka, of course, we know there will not be this much of operation, this much of passenger arrivals and tourist arrivals, and because of the peace, it is happening. And also, as moderator mentioned, if I talk about cultural attachment to this aviation industry, actually tourism industry or the journey of a tourist starts from aviation industry. To join to Sri Lanka's tourism industry, he or she must use aviation from their origin. I mean, they are from their country. Let's say a person who is living in corner of Russia, he has to come to Sri Lanka by using aircraft, civil aviation. Of course, they can travel by ships, but it is very rare. Anyway, this journey of these tourists starts by this aviation industry. And because of this, aviation industry is playing a very pivotal role in this connecting two cultures. Within the aircraft itself, we can start our tourism promotion. Recently, now it is a mandatory thing to play a safety video inside the aircraft before each flight. Recently, I saw very attractive 2 videos, one from Sri Lankan Airlines. I saw about 10 years back, they played a video with Arachila, and they displayed the safety activities to follow inside the aircraft with the help of these air hostess, air crew and all. But the characters, cartoon characters were in the video. That is our Arachila and his clan in the village. So this promote the aviation, tourism culture, or the culture in the country through aviation industry. The other thing is, most recent thing, 8 months before, Air India published another safety video, very attractive safety video. They used their dancing cultures, dancing items. If you can just go through the YouTube and search Air India safety video. And most attractive thing for me, there are things not to do inside the aircraft. You can't use your laptops, telephones inside the aircraft when they are taking off. They restricted it. Now in Air India, very trickily, they have used Kathakali dance. If you go through the internet, or if you are very familiar with these dances and all, Kathakali dance, the face is like there's a evil look. With this evil look, they say, no big electronic items inside the aircraft. You can't use mobile phones and all. So emphasize that. See the culture connected to aviation and also tourism. So there's a very good connection to this aviation industry with the tourism industry, and also with fees and all. With fees, definitely aviation industry contribute to aviation tourism industry, and also there's interconnection tourism industry. I mean, they support to aviation industry.
Mr. Tenabadu, now, I know you are an expert of luxury hospitality camping as well as a consultant and entrepreneur, particularly with Pico Trail. So how do you believe that we can foster culture and mutual understanding among different cultured people in the tourism and related operations?
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me for this. So I will take Pico Trail as an example to answer your question. Sorry. Sri Lanka, we had a war for over 3 decades that ended in 2009, right? So what's the cause of this war that happened? It was a conflict between the Tamil minority and Sinhalese majority, right? So that's a lack of understanding between the communities, between the cultures. So I'm going to take Pico Trail as an example, like I said. So the Pico Trail was a project that was created in the tea country. So in the tea industry, most of the labor force was brought down from India back in the colonial era, and the generations continued down in the same area. So these people live in line houses, very small, like 10 by 10 room kind of a place, and their horizons are very, very narrow because what they see is the estate, and it's hardly they have seen anything beyond the tea estate. And on the other side, people from everywhere else in the country, I'll take for an example, have no clue what this culture is, what their lifestyle is like. So now the Pico Trail is a long distance hiking trail, first of its kind in Sri Lanka, that goes over 311 kilometers to be exact, over 22 stages, that crosses between Central and Uva province. 10 out of 22 stages of that trail is in Uva province itself. So these trails go through not only the tea country, actually some Sinhalese community as well, allowing different ethnicities to engage with each other, understand the culture, their lifestyle, their beliefs. It's not only the traveler who's seeing what the culture in the local area that we are traveling, passing through, but also the locals see the cultures and the different ethnicities that travel in their communities. So the main idea of peace is having this engagement between the ethnicities. So I think in terms of tourism, penetrating deep into Sri Lanka, into different communities, will help bridge this gap and make Sri Lanka as a whole more peaceful. And in terms of global peace, of course, we know what happened last week also, like, the travel advisor. So peace is very important for tourism, but in our context, what we can do is like try to engage with different ethnicities and make tourism a canvas to do that.
All right, thank you for your brief note. And once again, I would like to turn to Mr. Razin, and how the technology can be leveraged to foster the connections to promote actually peace among guests and visitors and your teams inside the hotels.
Yes, I think it's a timely thing regarding technology. I think today without technology, you can't do anything. I'll discuss a little bit of practical things which hotels do in Sri Lanka or overseas today. For example, in front office, the place where I work, we have about 56 apps and systems. Let me explain one app called Keeps You. You can Google also and see, called Keeps You. Before, if a guest come in, you will have to call and check if the guest room is okay. You can, when you go to the restaurant, you can go and ask everything is okay. But today, with this app, when the guest, before the guest check-in, we can get all these preferences, what is likes and dislikes. When he checks in, within 5 minutes he gets a SMS asking, Mr. Razin, you have checked in, your room, everything is okay. And then guest can also reply, no, my curtain is not proper, my room is dirty, there is a smell. So that if that's so, immediately it gets flagged to the front office department and it goes off. If a guest is on the pool side and he want to have a burger and a Coke, he doesn't need till the bar or to walk to the bar and ask for a Coke and a burger. With his phone, he can just say, I want a burger and a Coke to the place that which I am, so that is being sent there. So it's very quick. So for a guest, it's very peaceful. There is no trouble to go around to make sure that it happens. When it comes to other things as well, we say if a guest is coming to Sri Lanka for 7 days and staying in South 3 days, on the cultural triangle for another 2 days, and then a round trip for another 2 days, if he has booked to watch whale watching, he can download the app and see if today the whale watching is happening and how many whales that you saw yesterday. Same at Jala National Park. How many elephants, leopards that you saw yesterday. So technology has become very close to our heart, young and old. It's not easy for the old to get used to this fast. But today, if you see in this hall, all youngsters and a lot of female, I think that's a great achievement for the industry. You all know that, boys, no offense to you all for sure, in our industry, we only have 6% female, the whole industry in Sri Lanka. Colombo, if you take Colombo has about 9%, but overall it's 6%. So this is what, as hoteliers, we are also looking to how we can improve the female contribution to the industry. So it's nice to see all of you all getting into this degree and joining the industry as well. Getting back to the technology, which I feel the reservations, you can not only change, you can even adjust yourself, your rooms, the preference rooms that you want. You want a room close by to the restaurant, or you want to have a room peacefully in the corner, also can be done by technology today. So I hope technology is a thing to live, and technology will change a lot of things which tourism did 2 years ago, and a lot of things are changing in technology. If you take the hygiene, the food hygiene, from technology we can check from our office if your salad counter, the coolness is right, or your store's coolness is right. So everything is revolving with technology today. So that has come to live and improve daily. So we as hoteliers has to make sure that we improve our knowledge also on technology to live up to it. Today the world has changed, which I have seen in the operation. the guests who are traveling to our part of the country, the parents, the father is a European, mother is a Asian. The mix of that kids, mother is a European, father is a Asian. These kids who are traveling the country are very tech savvy, and they are looking forward everything. They don't want to come and ask the reception, they don't want to come and ask the bellboy what to do in the area, what to do. If they want to buy a Panadol, they will know where to go and buy a Panadol. So that's where the technology has come, Professor.
Mr. Gunodana, now can you elaborate a bit on as to how the technology being leveraged in airlines to create peaceful engagements?
Yeah, actually, as Rashid said, in the aviation industry also we use highly technology, and it's like blood of aviation. So for passenger check-in, we use biometrics, and also border control. Again, we use biometrics, and that is the technology. In Singapore airports, if you have a chance to visit Singapore one day, they use 100% check-in counters. I mean, border control counters at Singapore airport, and also in Hong Kong airport. Again, they use a high number of boarding counters use biometrics. Now, see the aviation industry, how they have absorbed this technology to the industry, and because of this technological absorption to the industry, we can reduce the waiting time for passengers, and they feel very convenience at the airport, at the aircraft. And recently, you may have heard Starlink provided internet connection to Qatar Airways. They had an agreement. So this will be a cheaper option for in-flight Wi-Fi connection in future. And finally, the passenger will get a very good gain, good crises, and while he is traveling to destination, he can search what are the things he can do in the destination. And as Rashid said, he can go to the airport, hotels app maybe, and he can use a lot of apps to check the hotel's facility, and also the facilities in the country and where he has to go. Like that, he can check within the aircraft while he is flying to destination. So these are the chances and possibilities in future after absorbing this technology into aviation industry. And because of this, finally, that ensures a smoother travel from the origin to the destination. Then finally, if the passenger has, tourist has a smoother travel from his origin to destination, definitely everyone know that there will be peace in his mind, and he think, okay, this is very peaceful country, very peaceful place to visit, and if everything is going well, I will travel to this destination frequently, and I know for sure there will not be any issue. And also, recent lot of security issues we experienced. For Vistara, there was a threat. 2 times we had a threat, but because of the formalities, we had to check it, but nothing found. And also Arugambe incident. Again, with this technology, we know that these media people, they publish unnecessarily, they promote these type of incidents unnecessarily. But on the other hand, with this technology, these tourists, they can check, okay, what is happening in Colombo, what is happening in Arugambe, where is Arugambe, am I going to Arugambe? So they can use it even within the aircraft, even within the airport. Now, also recently I visited Hong Kong airport for guidance. In Colombo airport, we have to ask from people, staff, okay, where's the cafeteria, where can I buy this thing, and where I have to go to for checking. But in Hong Kong airport, of course, anyone can access LCD panels. There are LCD panels. It shows where you are, and you can just touch the place where you want to go, and it will direct you to, it will show the direction to that place. So that is again very convenient. And finally, it ensures peace in his mind. If somebody's mind very peaceful, definitely there'll be peace around. So this is how we have used, by using a lot of technology, lot of apps, lot of programs, and a lot of checking facilities, and a lot of other document checking facilities, and a lot of things. We have used technology, and because of that, aviation industry becoming very peaceful. Finally, the end result is peace, aviation industry, and technology connected well.
Thank you, Mr. Gunawardena. And turning back to Mr. Kure again, now whatsoever said and done, we know there are conflicts in the society, in the world, and in a country we have gone through a lot of conflicts. So what are the challenges? I mean, once we go through serious conflict or incident, in rebuilding the positive atmosphere to operate normal tourism, so what are the challenges we face?
So when we face such incidents, like even the last week's the negative travel ban advice given, to build from it, it's with actually with social media now, messages spread like wildfire. Before some people see it in Colombo, people have seen it in around the world, and like he mentioned as well, sometimes the media is also not very responsible when they share information, which leads to a lot of negative publicity, and to bounce back from that is challenging. Unfortunately, as a destination, Sri Lanka has for the last so many years struggled to have a proper marketing campaign, which the private sector has been continuously battling the tourist board plus the government to invest in a proper campaign. The last year also, or the last government, they came up with a new tagline and various things. They awarded contracts, but nothing properly came out to play. Whereas you see certain destinations continuously keep on advertising, whether it is Singapore, India, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, other than certain companies, or we doing it in a small manner, there is no proper country planned marketing, which affects the arrival numbers. And especially once we have an issue like what we faced, we need to bring it out. We have to give the message to the world that Sri Lanka is safe and that there is no problem. Now, even we have a property in Arudambe or in Pothuil, Jet Surf, and when we spoke to our manager that morning, okay, there was a military presence, but actually the military presence was there in Arudambe for over 3 weeks. From towards the end of September, they realized there is a bit of tension, and which was actually the way we see it, it was very proactive of our government to put in the required police, army personnel to ensure there will not be a problem. I think that was a mistake that in 2019, when our government was informed of a threat, they decided not to properly act on it, which led to a much worse incident. So many people lost their lives, and also not only locals but tourists, because in the hotels, 3 of the Colombo hotels, Rifan's sister hotel in Colombo, the Chandrila, Kingsbury, Cinnamon Grand, which are 3 of the prominent 5-star properties in the city. Then the 3 churches, including one in Batitlo, got affected. So that was the negligence of the government for not providing the required security. This time we commend that they did take action, even not only in Arudambe. Now we as a company, we have 35 properties around the island. All over the island, the local police visited each hotel. I'm sure even the Chandrila would have been visited in Hambantota, and they were looking, they were asking whether we have Israeli clients or whatnot. They were taking down details. If there were, they were providing even people in civil uniform without being in the military uniforms. They were in civil. So that way they were providing, so they were proactive. And the reason, it's always better to be safe than sorry. That's the way we see it. And unfortunately, the travel advisories made a huge negative impact. We saw a few cancellations, but still it's too early. And to bounce back, we need to really get the message across that Sri Lanka is extremely safe. There is nothing to worry. And the government, I think, it was again the state or the Minister of State Local Security, Vijita Herath, he came and spoke that evening, and he assured the public that the government is taking all steps to ensure the safety of the people. So it is, we shouldn't shoot ourselves in the foot. Actually, the sad thing to say is, our property, this for last weekend, we had 12 cancellations in Arurambe, and all 12 cancellations were from Sri Lankans actually. But actually we were speaking to them and saying, which country are you following? Are you following the American advisory, or are you following the advisory given by our country, our government? Our government has told it's safe to travel, but it is our people who ruin ourselves. A lot of Sri Lankans, not only Sri Lankans, but a lot of people in general thrive on negativity. If you look at social media, if it's a negative something, whether it is the news or some problem, people love to share it. Whether it is on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. But if it's something positive, or if it's some religious prayer or something, people will not share. So it is our people who make it, who blow up these problems and into, which is not the reality. So it is important that, like I mentioned even before, you have to be responsible in what you do. You have to be a responsible citizen, otherwise you're just shooting yourself in the foot, which will lead to our country going backwards and not forwards. So you have to be always mindful of what you share, and you shouldn't believe everything you read or see on social media. Nowadays with AI, you can create a lot of fake news as well. Even videos you can create which looks very real. So don't blindly just forward things, but be responsible in what you do. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Thenabadu, now as I mentioned earlier also, now we have gone through a series of social conflicts, political crises and economic challenges in the country. So how like these challenges affected the peaceful travel in Sri Lanka?
To answer this, first we need to understand tourism is a very volatile industry. It's the first industry to go down, regardless whether it's economic crisis, security, social, political, whichever it is. Tourism is the first industry getting affected, and it's the last to recover. But like everybody said earlier, it's the lowest hanging fruit for our economy. So how do we recover from such situations? For the biggest challenges, like for the past 5 years we've had, was like one is the losing the skilled labor. Everybody's migrating, but Dimitri said made some good points about migrating to other countries, and how you will never be a first class citizen. So then infrastructure maintenance. I'm sure properties like Shangri-La and Jet Wings, we had a lot of challenges in those. In my case, we had a very small operation. We were somewhat okay. And then, but how do we get back up? Like Dimitri mentioned, the Sri Lanka as a country has a huge responsibility. The authorities have a huge responsibility, because let's look at 2022 for an example, the economic crisis. Everybody thought Sri Lanka was not safe, because that's the picture that was created out there in the world by global media. as Sri Lanka, as a country, we did not have, the government did not make much effort to re-establish that image, so the private sector stepped up. They had their own campaigns, even from the smallest level, like my own small business. We had guests doing like little testimonials about how safe is Sri Lanka, what's happening in Sri Lanka, getting that information out. So the communication is the most important thing in terms of getting back up, marketing and communication. And Sri Lanka, as the authority that overlooks this industry, does have a bit of a lack in that aspect, which we believe will be changed with the new changes that's coming into the country. And I will explain a little bit about the Pico Trail, not because I'm representing the Pico Trail, but it actually is the key for this matter we had in the 2022, the pandemic and the socio-economic crisis we have had in Sri Lanka. So let me tell you the story of Pico Trail really briefly, so you see how we may change things around. So there was this Spaniard called Mikkel Kunyat. He's been living in Sri Lanka for the past 25 years, probably more than the students here have lived in Sri Lanka for. So he's been traveling up in the hills in Sri Lanka, hiking in the existing trails, like trails that people, estate workers would use to, go to plantations, or even old cart roads, different methods of, different types of trails. So what he did was he knitted these individual trails together, connecting it into 22 stages that makes the Pico Trail. And then he went up to the European Union and requested, now Sri Lanka is going down through a very, very difficult time in tourism. Sri Lanka never had a long-distance hiking trail. It's the first of its kind in Sri Lanka, right? So they said, like, let's bring the experiential tourism and make the experiential tourism, and let's make a noise about it in the world so that we can get the attention from the world back to Sri Lanka. So then the European Union, with the funding from the European Union and additional funding from the USAID, there was this project called the Tourism Resilience Project, which the name itself stands for what the purpose of the project is, which curated the Pico Trail over 3 years of time. It's a massive project running through 2 provinces, right? Now, though we created Pico Trail, why is it so important? Why are we talking about it today? Because now Sri Lanka had this bad image about, okay, it's not a safe country to visit. Nobody's making a proper statement that how safe Sri Lanka is to visit. Then this trail got out to the world with, for people who were looking for experiential travel, and eventually became #1 in the world, the #1 experience in the world to have in 2024, which was awarded by the National Geographic magazine, which is one of the top magazines in the world in travel. This is not something that government did or anything, and then eventually the Pico Trail was all over global media like New York Times, everything. Like if you are interested, you can go to our website and see how much of global exposure we had. So Sri Lanka was put back in the tourism map because of this project called Pico Trail, which is experiential tourism, and through the tea country, through the communities, and how the communities can thrive from the industry, which we create a new image for Sri Lankan tourism. So that communication was the key, that we got the right people to come to Sri Lanka and travel in this trail, and made it #1 experience in the world again. Because some people didn't know what Sri Lanka was at that time, except for the crisis, and then again, okay, because of the Pico Trail, Sri Lanka started booming again. And then we had really good numbers for this year projected. this year projected numbers for the tourist arrivals. Like Dimitri said, it's too early to say how things will be with this last week's incidents, but we do need to understand a few things in terms of tourism. It's a seasonal business, and people make reservations ahead of time. So months of October, November, though we don't have a lot of travelers in the country, these are the months that most travelers plan their tours for the winter vacation, which is the biggest season in Sri Lanka. So right now we are in a bit of a concern whether we will have same level of inquiries that we anticipated because of these incidents or not. But like Dimitri said, we personally haven't seen a lot of cancellations. It's too early to say. Did I answer the question, Professor?
Sure, thank you. So, given the time constraints also, I would like to draw open question for all the panelists. So what long-term strategies do you think or propose to ensure the peaceful tourism industry in the country? Openly for, yeah, it's open.
Thank you. Before anybody else jump in the question, I just want to finish off. So the technology was one of the things, but I'll get to that in a bit. The strategy, I think, I'll tell you a quick story that I've seen personally myself. So there was this young entrepreneur called Rimas who lives in Norwood. His family owns a small tea estate in Norwood area, and he was seeing guests coming by helicopters to high-end boutique hotels up in the Norwood Hills, right? And then he was thinking, like, I also want to do this. I want to have people coming by helicopter to my guest house. And then what he got was some people coming by cars and vans. And then there were cyclists coming. And then eventually there were people coming by foot because of the Pico Trail. And his whole idea about the tourism changed, whether it's not about, like, you know, having that high-end spender, or whether it's not about the number of people, but it's about the quality of the travelers. So Remus had this have this team of local guides from the local community. 6 guides, 2 of them are females, whose generations have been living in the tea estates in the area. And one day, one of the female guides were taking few foreign travelers on a hike through the tea estate, and then she ran into her grandmother. Like I said, this estate community, their horizon is very narrow. They haven't seen much beyond the estates. And then this grandmother was in tears after seeing their granddaughter leading a pack of foreigners, which is different from the perspective that they're coming from, and broadening their horizons, and she was in tears. So this one thing is actually penetration deep into the local communities, how we can develop tourism in a sustainable manner. Second thing is the numbers of the tourism. Sri Lanka estimated, the goal of Sri Lankan Tourist Board was to have 5 million tourists coming into the country, and I personally am against that. I believe a lot of industry experts would be against that, because what we need is not numbers. What we need is quality, quality over the quantitative. So 2 million tourists are good enough if we have the right 2 million tourists coming into Sri Lanka. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying like, okay, we should not say no to Chinese, Indian, and Russian markets. So we should have them, but we need to have this tourism industry developing sustainably. And then the technology. It's very difficult to find something in Sri Lanka, but thanks to this app, I didn't know about it, but I want to know a little bit more about it later. But it's very difficult to access information. So what we did at Pico Trail for this matter is, one, we have a digital app that gives you turn-by-turn navigation on the trail, that issues trail passes, which controls the number of people going on the trail. We have a cap of 100 travelers per stage per day. So that way we maintain a sustainable number rather than going for a quantitative everyone. So that's, I believe, for moving forward, we need to look at how we can penetrate deep into the local communities. Like for an example here, we have from Hali, we can go to Atampitia and then Lunwat. Those areas, I don't think there had been much foreign travelers being into, and now today there are small tea shops coming up to support these guys. So having a proper penetration into the local communities, getting that dollar coming into the country, deep into the country rather than spent at Al and Mirisa, would be something that we need to look at. So technology, quality over quantity, and penetration into the community is my suggestion. So Dimitri?
Yeah, thanks. Regarding how tourism can play a part in reconciliation and peace, I would like to touch on our experience in Jaffna. As Rifan mentioned, we were the first large chain to go into Jaffna, and let me just give a bit of a backstory to that, because my father had been to Jaffna, and my grandfather actually was a building contractor in the 1970s, and he used to, with the KTA cement factory, he actually built a few housing projects there, and my father remembers going to Jaffna as in his youth. When he was a young boy. Then my father also traveled to Jaffna in 1981 from St. Joseph's College. My father, as a cricket team from Colombo, they went to Jaffna, played against St. Patrick's, Jaffna Central and St. John's, and St. Joseph's was the last team from the south to go to Jaffna. Then in 2011, after then of course so many years, 30 years we don't travel, 2011 my father and I, we went to Jaffna, we just went to see what potential, and we got to know this community service working gentleman. He was a person from Jaffna, and then when we went again in 2012 we met him, and we were asking him how things are. He was very nice. He welcomed us to his house, gave us a couple of cup of tea and some stuff. And when we were talking, my father was, how is the development, whatnot. And he, in a very polite manner, said, the people in the south are coming and they're only interested to take our money away, which was a very interesting statement. And my father asked him after a couple of minutes, what do you mean? And he said, if you travel in the Jaffna town, there are only finance and leasing companies. That they have come that for people to either borrow money, pawn their jewelry or whatnot, and they are not putting any investment into Jaffna. They are just trying to take the money back to the south, which I was in early 20s, so it probably was a little bit too much for me to understand, but for my father, he was he felt it quite personally. And then we got this opportunity in 2014 to start building this hotel in Jaffna. And there was a lot of resistance from the locals also when we were starting to build, because together with the German government, GIZ, and the VTA, because VTA had a training center in Karenada, we have a program called the JP Youth Development Program, where we started training youth, and we were teaching them English, the different hospitality skills, all of that. And there were small hoteliers in Jaffna who were very reluctant. And actually the chief minister at that time wanted to meet us to see what the problem is. And then we explained why the others are reluctant. Because when we were starting to pay our employees EPF, ETF, providing them uniforms, meals on duty, all these things, where none of these others were providing, they were reluctant to change. But then thankfully that time the chief minister was wise enough to understand that what we are doing is we are enhancing the quality, and that also helped us. Those are ways of reconciliation. And another thing is, actually, we were probably one of the first families. My father also bought a house in Jaffna, because he said the Sinhalese and the Tamils also have to learn to live together. But there are many Tamils who come and buy property in the south, in Colombo, wherever, but not many from the south do. And now actually that property is also, it's a 4-bedroom bungalow which we sell to Jess as well, where we encouraged both the local community and us. And part of the reconciliation, actually, in our property, we have 3 former LTT cadre who went through the reconciliation through the army and whatnot, who are still working in our property. They have been there for the since 2016, so 8 years. So these are ways where, whether it's how small or big, where you can, because it's never going to be easy. Normally what they say is, when there's a war, it takes 2 to 3 generations for it to be fully reconciled, which in theory means the people who are there need to die. Then only, because if you remember what happened, it's much harder to forget and forgive. So it's very important that you try to work as one, work in a community, help the local communities wherever, whether it is in the Uva province or any other province. Try to work and help each community develop. I think it's very promising, like in the morning when you are discussing, to see the interest the local authorities are taking with the development of this region. I think Uva in the last 10 years has been one of the fastest, especially the Alla region has been one of the fastest growing tourist markets. So this is a lot of potential, and it's also very encouraging to see so many young independent entrepreneurs. If you take the Alla stretch, I think probably 80-90% are mainly locals who are running cafes, shops and all. There are 1 or 2 from outside, but majority are within the region, and that is what we need. And whether it is in Alla, down south, we have a few places. So working with local communities and enhancing that experience and that authentic Sri Lankan experience is what's important to build those bridges between different communities and ensuring peace, and which will benefit the entire country.
Yeah, Mr. Razin, Mr. Gunawardena, your remarks on how the long-term strategies in fostering peaceful tourism in the country.
Thank you, Professor. I think we can talk a lot about tourism, but what can you implement as a hotelier, as a leader? So we thought, I worked at Kandalama, Cultural Triangle was born with Sigiriya. Cultural Triangle is Dambulla, Sigiriya, Habarana, Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa and Trinco. Today it's a world-renowned destination called Cultural Triangle. Even all Sri Lankans goes to Cultural Triangle. I took over Hambantota 3 years ago. I want to create my own triangle. So I spoke to Mr. Hirankure, spoke to some of the senior tourist board chairmen as well. From Gaul to Arugambe, we want to create our triangle. Once upon a time, from airport to Hambantota was 12.5 hours. Then the highway came to Gaul, it was 8.5 hours. Then the highway came to Matara, it was 7.5 hours. Today you can come from 3.5 hours from the airport to Hambantota. Today most of the people who are traveling to Norelia takes the highway Allavella via Bandaravala and Norelia. It's very convenient, no traffic, a lot of things are happening. If you see Cultural Triangle as Sigiriya, you have Min area, you have the lovely beaches in Trinco, yes. But there is more than that in this part of the world, in the deep south. We do have an international airport. We do have an international port. We have an international cricket stadium. The second largest leopard population in the world is Yala. Bundala, you name it. There is a lot of things which people can see. And if you go to Kenya for safari, that's the best in the world to go for Kenya. From the airport, you take 4 hours to travel to safari camp. Here, if Matala is being operated, you are landing to the safari camp. Matala airport is 200 acres. If the government want to bring in 4 million tourists to the country, Colombo airport, you only can have 25 buses to be parked. In a bus, it's only just you can have 25 guests into 25 buses. You just imagine how many buses need to come in to take those guests if you have 4 million tourists. But in Matala, you can have a yard, a bus yard. Today, people don't travel to, when people travel to Bali, they don't travel to Jakarta, they travel to Bali. Today, world's #1 destination is Bali. We also can create Matala as something like that. For people to fly to Matala, from Matala, Allavaya, Bandaravale and Noralia Candy in 3.5 hours to 4 hours. And then you can do cultural triangle. To Colombo is another 3 hours. I think the government is working on that right now. We wanted to create something for peace. Public, private, people and profit. From Gaul to Arugambe. Let me talk about what this public-private partnership is. Once I got an opportunity to go to Hawaii to study a little bit of public-private partnership. There, a mother and a daughter had got a 10-acre land. The daughter had been working for a hotel, mother has been working for a hotel. They have come out of the industry and they have started growing lavender. You know that lavender is an edible flower. They have partnered with the local bakeries and they produce lavender bread, lavender croissants, lavender Danish pastries, etc. Huge number of tourists goes to these cafes just to try lavender flavored bakeries. Just imagine Sri Lanka has one of those or two in this part. And we do have a lot of land which can be grown lavender. I'm just telling one. I was just telling Professor, we had the hotel school AGM this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Our hotel had 690 guests yesterday for breakfast. When you have 690 guests for breakfast, I wanted about 450 king coconut for breakfast. This 450 king coconut, just imagine how many people might have climbed the king coconut tree to pluck this king coconut and transport it to tuk-tuks, mini lorries to the biggest lorries to being direct and indirect. How many people are benefiting from tourism? So if you get tourism right, I'm just talking about king coconut, all the farmers, we need to import from overseas. From our onions to potatoes, today are being imported. So there are a lot of things tourism can contribute from different parts to take this country to a different level. When I was talking about the ring that I wanted to do from Gaul to the... Today we have a lot of night cadets. But we have not identified and we are not supported from the tourism side how to improve their hygiene and all that. If we can improve, today if you go to Hikkadua or Ella, you might have about 50 varieties of rotis, from avocado to acharu to chocolate to strawberry rotis. Just imagine we developed this line of entrepreneurship in this part of the world. how many people can be benefited. This community in Sri Lanka can be benefited just with tourism. Only thing, we need to have a great system. I think the present government is creating that. I met the present tourist board chairman and the hotel school chairman who was with us for this event. They have a bigger vision. They are very visionary. I hope with this, most of the people will not want to migrate. Sometimes you might do your degrees and want to migrate. Yes, that's nice. We see the green pasture of the other side is very nice, but we need to go and see how great is Sri Lanka. In 2009, there was a reverse migration after the war. All the chefs in Canada, Australia came back to the country with all this mess. They went back. But definitely, with tourism opening, there will be a lot of people coming to the country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. As the last panelist, I would mention, first thing is, from today we started our aviation side season, winter season. So new charter operators will start the operations to Colombo and Mattala, and the good side is minimum we can have about 150,000 seats per week. That is minimum, and maximum we estimated 250,000 seats per week. It's about maybe 12 million, maybe 24 million per year. So out of this 12 million or 24 million, about 1/4 for tourism, as our past experience. So for Mattala also we can expect about 3,000 seats per week in this coming season. So that will be a good number in Mattala's perspective. So anyway, for future planning and all for this aviation side and tourism side, I believe we need 4 things. First is, as you said, from Pico Trail's technology, and also if we can use sustainable activities, or we can use sustainability in these both industries, that is also a good thing. And other thing is collaboration between 2 industries. Finally, that will direct, because both industries will direct to the highest goal we can achieve. And finally, innovation. We need to have a lot of innovations. Students like you find a lot of things. You can innovate a lot of things to the industry, and there are a lot of traditional things in both industries. But we need to innovate, and we need to publish it and promote it all over the world. Then we can see a different aviation industry, and also we can see a different tourism industry. The collaboration also very important between 2 industries. If we can develop aviation industry, then definitely tourism industry will develop. And also on the other hand, if we can develop tourism industry, then finally aviation industry is benefited from this development. So I believe these 4 are very important in future planning in both aviation industry and tourism industry.
Thank you, Mr. Gunawardena. And thank you very much, all the expertise ideas that you will have put forward. With that, I would like to open the discussion for the floor. And here we have the expertise from aviation industry, hospitality and travel, and also from community and tourism hotel operations. So we can have, once again, time is almost, Dhananjay is looking at me, but all right, I will give opportunity for 2 questions, from the floor. 2 lucky questions.
Good afternoon, respected panel members. So I'm truly honored to having you with us. And I have one question. I'm asking question for the Mr. Dimitri Kure and Mr. Arafas. So, sir, in what and why ways that you implementing for the mental and emotional wellness for your staff, especially in the times of the crisis, to ensure that your employees providing and offers the peacefulness and the positive experience for your travelers in the crisis period and your guests as well. So I need your answer.
Right, thank you. That's a very good question, because currently a lot of people are going through a lot of trouble, especially emotionally, psychologically. At what Jetwing we do, we have a little over 3,500 people with us, and it's spread across the island. One thing which we introduced in the past 6 months to a year actually was, in each of our hotels we have now a prayer room as well. With each standard prayer room will have a statue of Lord Buddha, Jesus Christ, Hindu gods, and the direction for Makkah. What we encourage people, and also when we travel, when we go to the hotels, also when we talk to them, religion helps a lot. Whatever the religion may be, it helps you to, if you believe in God and you pray, that will also help you with these difficulties. Plus, what we tell our managers, because sometimes we can't be physically present in each of our locations, and then we have general managers who are responsible for each unit. It is we request the general manager plus the seniors in the property to speak and to get to know each and everybody personally, whether if you're having any issues, family issues, financial issues. So there are so many things, and especially during the economic crisis and the earlier time, one thing as a company we did was also, if there were certain people who had extreme difficult financial trouble, we actually gave them and if they had loans, the company actually took over some loans and we gave the money, and where people of course pay us back, but at a much reduced percentage, which allowed people to handle their finances also a little better, because there are many challenges which probably all are still young and living with your parents, but once you start living on your own, having to do everything on your own, you realize the challenges. So it's important, and as a responsible employer, we take measures taught into them, and also we encourage them to be as religious as possible, because we as a family, I'm a Catholic, and we are very strong believers in the religion, and we keep everything to God as well. Of course, you work hard, but you also have to have a strong faith which allows you to go to sleep at night. For example, a lot of people used to call my father when he had 2 months of complete closure, which was April, May, I think the airport, everything closed in 2020. And some of his friends used to call him and ask, Machan, how do you sleep? We had 2.5 to 3 months with zero income, and roughly our monthly salary bill at that time was about 150 million rupees. So we had 3 months where we had to pay nearly close to 450, 500 million rupees with zero income. And people used to ask him, how do you manage? And we, because of the faith and what we had, and of course our financial planning previously, we were able to manage. So it's very important, whatever the religion, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, to have a strong faith also, which will help you to go through these tough periods. I'm sure again a lot of you may have seen a lot of much younger you also, some children in Colombo going through difficulties. And also when you have problems, don't be afraid to come and express those with somebody older to you. And taught even here, taught your lecturers, your professors, they can guide you without bottling things up, which can lead to bigger problems. So that's a little bit how we assist.
It was a great question that you asked. I think you people will want to join our industry also to see about this wellness, because the world has changed and we are 24/7, not a 8 to 5 job. You first touched about conflicts, and at that time what happened. I think if you take Shangri-La, we never stopped even a trainee. We paid the salaries, we never had any cut down of their salaries or anything. Number one, we even gave them a service charge of 40,000 plus their salaries, even all their insurances, medical, everything. The company took a big hit. Our company, the first choice is people. So I think that was a great thing the company did. And you are talking about wellness. Yes, every month you have a poya. After the poya, next day, from around the temples, we have a Dharma Deshana for 45 minutes to all our colleagues in one of the banquet halls, seated down. The priest and us discuss the present challenges, and he brings that out in a Deshana hour to all the colleagues who are in the hotel. That gets house full. So once a month when you have a Dharma Deshana hour, it's not only the Buddhists who goes. I also go and sit down, the Catholics, the Hindus, everyone sit down, so that relax a lot. Most of us might not go every month to church or temple, but we bring the church and the temple inside. So that helps a lot on your wellness. Our staff accommodation is called Yahalu. In that staff accommodation, the managers, the supervisors, the normal staff and the trainees all stay in one building. We do have a gym, a very updated gym for male and female together. We do have a billiard area, a recreation area, TV and all that, so that after work they can play, watch. And monthly we have movie nights. We have a staff party every 3 months. We have a Kottu night. So to make sure it's not only work, the work-life balance is very important for all of us. The world is changing so fast. So we need these kind of things. And engagements, staff engagement happens big time. Every sport we have, every month we have a competition. Next month is our cricket. This month we had netball, but netball also was not only played by girls, we had one boy also in the team. Same when it was volleyball, we had a girl also on the team. Cricket also is same, it's not only the boys, when we had a girl. So we wanted to make sure equal and to bring this up in a different way. So the challenges are different. We don't want to say these are girls. We want everyone to be same, and the challenges are equal to everyone. As Mr. Dimitri mentioned, the other areas a general manager has to do, that's amazing. So we even bring in a yoga master once a month for our colleagues. Right. Then a lot of walking happens. I sit in 145 acres in Hambantota. We are a dry zone, but if you come and see, we are greener than most of the areas. So it's a beautiful place, home for about 70 to 75 peacocks. In the morning when you come down, and from our colleague residence to the hotel is about 5 minutes walk inside the hotel. You see peacocks walking around in the morning, and in the night, in the evening when they are going off, the peacocks come back and they fly back to the coconut trees to sleep. So there is a lot of harmony and nature in the place, not only at my place, for sure, all hotels in Sri Lanka is doing something like this or more. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think it was a detailed elaboration on as to how the physical and psychological well-being can be built into the staff in turbulent times. Regrettably, I will have to bring to an end this discussion. I know there will be hundreds more questions from all of you, but unfortunately, time is not a luxury. So once again, thank you so much, all my experts, and let's move on to the main program.
Thank you all for the exciting discussion, and please be kind enough to remain on the stage for a while as we have arranged token of appreciation to our esteemed panel members whose invaluable expertise and contribution were greatly enriched today's discussion. To present the token of appreciation, we would like to invite Professor Ruan Ranasinghe, Dean, Faculty of Management. To accept the token of appreciation, we would like to invite Mr. Dimitri Kure, Managing Director, JP Hotels, Mr. Refan Razin, General Manager, Shangri-La Hambantota.
Mr. Ishara Gunawardena, Manager, Air Services and Traffic Rights. Mr. Pramudit Tenabadu, Senior Consultant, Entrepreneurship and Operations, the Pico Trail. Dear Professor Ruan Ranasinghe, please be kind enough to remain on the stage for a while. Other guests can leave. Now, we would like to appreciate the efforts of Mr. Nilantha Tinakon, Editor-in-Chief, Guansara Aviation Magazine, National Coordinator, the Next Generation of Aviation Professionals, Sri Lanka Program, representing Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka, who has accepted our invitation and attending celebrating the World Tourism Day. At this moment, we would like to recognize the efforts of our moderator. Dear sir, please remain on stage for a while. To present the token of appreciation, we would like to invite Ms. Vindhya Hebage, Lecturer, Department of Tourism Studies, the Academic Coordinator of World Tourism Day Celebration 2024, to the stage. To accept this token of appreciation, I warmly invite Professor Ruan Ranasinghe, Dean, Faculty of Management. Thank you all the panel members for the exciting discussion in our first panel discussion.
Next, we have the second panel discussion on a topic that is deeply connected to the essence of tourism. Tourism as a pathway to understanding. In an increasingly interconnected world, tourism plays a crucial role in fostering cultural exchange, breaking down barriers, and promoting mutual respect among people of diverse backgrounds. Through our esteemed panel members' slides, we hope to gain a clear picture of how travel can be a powerful tool for creating lasting bonds and shared understanding in a world that often struggles with division.
The second panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. Dhananjay Navaratna, Head, Department of Tourism Studies, Faculty of Management. Mr. Dhananjay Navaratna obtained his first degree in Bachelor of Business Management in Hospitality, Tourism and Events Management from Uva Wellassa University of Sri Lanka and completed his Master of Business Administration from Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka. He joined Uva Wellassa University in 2016 as an academic and has been involved in many national and international projects and CSR activities. His research interests include MICE tourism, sustainable tourism, community-based tourism, tourism planning and development, destination management and marketing, and travel agency and tour operations management, and he has published a number of research papers in reputed refereed journals. He is the director of the Community Volunteer Center at Uva Wellassa University, and currently he is serving as the head, Department of Tourism Studies, Faculty of Management of Uva Wellassa University of Sri Lanka. Dear sir, I am honored to invite you to the stage to moderate the discussion.
Good afternoon once again. So I think you had a fruitful discussion on the peace and tourism, and again you have another fruitful discussion which focuses on peaceful encounters, tourism as a pathway to understanding. Yes, the whole program, even the country, is talking about how we are promoting safe traveling through tourism. So if we are expecting tourists to attract to the destinations, yes, the number one factor is the safety and security. We had bad experiences as well in the past. So now this discussion is focused on role of government, travel agents, educational institutes to promote safe traveling through tourism. With these discussions, we have joined tourism professionals, 4 tourism professionals representing academia as well as industry as well as government sector. So first let me introduce the panel member. Professor Rangana Shalika graduated from Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka before receiving his master's degree from Colombo University and PhD degree from Management and Science University in Malaysia. He currently works as a professor in tourism management attached to the Department of Tourism Management, Faculty of Management Studies, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka. He has been involved in various administrative activities at the university and contributed his service for various government and private sector tourism projects as a consultant and as a resource person in various workshops. His major teaching and research areas are ecotourism, community-based tourism, sustainable tourism, development, responsible tourism, environment and tourism resources, and homestay tourism in Asian countries. He has published nearly 60 articles in well-organized journals, both in Sri Lanka and overseas. Professor Rangana is also a leading consultant in sustainable tourism, community-based ecotourism, and regulatory advice, curriculum development, and quality parameters development projects in Sri Lanka. So I warmly invite Professor Rangana Shalika to join with this discussion. Next, let me introduce Mr. Sampath Nisanka, Chief Executive Officer of Uva Tourism Promotion Bureau. Mr. Sampath Nisanka obtained his first degree in Bachelor of Business Administration from University of Ruhuna and joined the Sri Lankan Administrative Service as Assistant Secretary for Ministry of Education in 2015. He obtained Master of Business specialized in International Tourism and Hospitality Management, and Master of Human Resource Management from Griffith University, Australia. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Uva Tourism Promotion Bureau since its inception, and now Mr. Nishanka is working as the Director of Industries Development at Uva Provincial Council. He is actively involved in many projects and CSR activities to uplift the tourism industry, especially in Uva Province. As an experienced administrator, he is involved to promote Uva tourism through various innovative projects. So, I warmly invite Mr. Sampath Nishanka to this panel discussion. Next, my invitation goes to Mr. Hashan Pereira, National Tourist Guide Lecturer. Mr. Hashan Pereira obtained his bachelor's degree in Palm and Latex Technology from Uva Wellassa University, and his passion towards travel and tourism sector drew him to establish Travel and Thrills Private Limited. As a young aspiring entrepreneur, Mr. Pereira showcases excellent skills in tour guiding, and he actively promotes sustainable concepts through his venture. First, he has become an area tour guide in Uva Province. Now, he is a national tour guide lecturer and contributes to promoting Sri Lankan tourism by interacting with diverse community, especially focuses on Uva tourism regional development. Mr. Pereira, the stage, please come forward to the panel discussion. The next panel member, Mr. Suraj Vijay Vikrama. Mr. Vijay Vikrama graduated from Uva Wellassa University with Bachelor of Business Management, honors in Hospitality, Tourism and Events Management degree program. He is currently working as a senior executive at Tangerine Tours Private Limited and contributing to Sri Lanka's tourism industry by working with diverse markets and sustainable tourism products. He also serves as a lecturer of Tourism and Events Management in international private universities, shaping the next generation of industry professionals. As a corporate trainer and life coach, Mr. Vijay Vikrama is actively engaged in creating and delivering innovative training and certification program, as well as community initiatives focused on youth skills and potential development in Sri Lanka. So, please, Mr. Vijay Vikrama, please come forward to the stage for the panel discussion. Yes. So we have 4 eminent resource personnel representing academia, industry, as well as the government sector. So the first questions I would like to move Professor Rangana Shalika and Mr. Sampath Nishanka. So Professor Shalika, I want to know about from you, how can governments and tourism organization works together to create policies that prioritize peace and stability in tourism hotspots to ensure Sri Lanka as travelers-friendly destinations? Yes, it's over to you.
Thank you, Dhananjay. And first of all, I would like to thank for the organizing committee for organizing this marvelous event and inviting me for this forum. And it's very happy to see colleagues, industry people, as well as the administrative officers in the tourism sector, as well as my dear students. Okay, to answer your question, before answering to your question, I would like to provide some kind of background information to you. First thing is where we are standing at the moment as a country. Now, if you look at the latest statistics, now some of the statistics were discussed in the previous panels, but I would like to highlight that. Now, if you look at the current statistics comparing to 2023, now 2023 we received 1.5 million tourists, roughly around 1.5 million tourists, and this year up to September we have been able to achieve that within 9 months, the same amount, 1.5 tourist arrivals. Now, comparing to the 2023, first 6 month increase is 61%. It's a positive sign for the tourism. Now, if you look at from the statistical point of view, and also if you look at the government policy, the existing or the current government policy, in their policy they have mentioned about targeting 8.5 billion revenue from tourism in coming years, as well as 4 million tourists. And sometimes you also mentioned about the quantity versus quality. I am also totally agreeing with you, Mr. Tinaban, because I am also a person who is expecting the quality tourism rather than the quantity wise. Because who is a quality tourist? Now we have to identify what is the difference of a quality tourist and the quantity. The quality tourist means that when a tourist comes to a destination, he or she must respect the law of the country, must respect the social cultural aspects, the environmental policies of the country, and adapt with the cultural norms of the destination. And also, he or she must be able to spend money within the destination. Now, the government has mentioned in their framework, policy framework, they are expecting to increase the spending of a tourist up to $500 per day. That's what we need. If tourists should spend when they come to a destination, then only they can get the benefits. Therefore, quality tourists we are expecting rather than the quantity. That's one thing that I wanted to highlight before coming to your answer. And also, it's a very important question you ask. Now, in that case, we have to again identify where we stand in the global context. Now, when we measure the peace, there are 3 main indexes. I think that some of them are well aware of that. One index is Global Peace Index. The other one is Positive Peace Index. The third one is the Global Terrorism Index. Now, where we stand at the moment. Now, in Sri Lanka, in the Global Peace Index, it's 100th position in 2024 out of 163 countries. The Positive Peace Index, we haven't got any ranks at the moment. But in the Global Terrorism Index, we are in 33rd. Right. The first country is Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso, and the second one is Israel in the Global Terrorism Index. In the Global Peace Index, the first country is Iceland, because normally the top 10 countries are most of the time Scandinavian countries or European countries. We can find it normally in the index. But now the most important part is where we stand. The Global Peace Index, we are in the 100th position, 100th place, as well as the Terrorism Index, 33rd. Now, if you look at the country in Sri Lanka, we don't have terrorism at the moment. We don't have war situation in the country. We don't have something like that. If you look at openly, we can't find anything like that. But still we are in the 33rd. Why? Peace means not only the terrorism activities, now avoiding terrorism or violation of activities. Now, first of all, we have to have free movement. If you want to develop the peace of the country, free movement for the tourists. How can we develop that free movement? We should ensure its country is free from terrorism, country is free from the conflicts, country is free from the violations, and respect the human rights as well as the free from harassments. Even though Sri Lanka is not having a war situation or terrorism kind of activity, but still we are vulnerable for that terrorism. The previous incidents that 2 days ago that we can see that. But still there are some issues in the country when it comes to the free movement. Therefore, we have to address as a government. Now, your questions, I will take this as an introduction to that question. The first thing government should ensure the accountability and transparency. Now, we are expecting from this government, because we didn't experience it previously, from this government we are expecting accountability and transparency for what? Especially to implement the law, tourism law, as well as the human rights, the free movement of the tourists, and the protection of the tourism should be ensured. That's why I totally agree with Mr. Dimitri. He mentioned that proactive approach taken by the government in the Arugambe incident is really appreciated, because they tried maximum level effort to protect the tourists and before anything happened. Now that's one thing that they have to do. Now government has proposed Dhananjaya, that National Tourism Council. Right, that's very important, and also National Tourism Policy Formulation Unit. Now these three units are very important when they are taking the policies relating to peace as well as the other tourism policies. If they are established, we are hoping that they will establish very soon these particular units and work on that. And these units are very important when you are going for the accountability and transparency. And also they should get the support of the other institutes like provincial ministries, provincial institutes, as well as other related institutes for these kind of activities. There should be integration. The second thing that government should do is ensure the safety and security. What they can do? Now one thing that they can do, there should be a proper complaint mechanism for the tourists. When there's something for the tourists, they should, to whom they should talk. If there is any complaint for them, that mechanism should be established. And also government can take some technologies. Now for example, we don't have still early warning system, right? Early warning system is there, but it is not integrated with the tourism. Not only for the terrorism, even for the natural disasters, right? Therefore, government should consider about that how can we integrate these early warning systems to ensure the safety and the security of the tourists. That's one thing. And the third thing that earlier panel also discussed about that recovery. Right? Now, conflict recovery mechanism, right? Now, that means we should not allow again a war in this country. And also, not only a war, even a conflict between the ethnicities. Now, I can remember a few years back, 5 years or 6 years back, there was a case in Sri Lanka that some extreme religious groups tried to have that. Right? I don't know whether you can remember. They created this kind of situation. Some Buddhist people, the Buddhist extremists, I'm saying that very openly extremists, as well as Muslim extremists, from both sides. They said that don't visit to Buddhist places or Buddhist hotels, don't eat from the Buddhist hotels. Then the Buddhist people said that don't go to Muslim shops. And they asked not to go these places. And they're trying to create some kind of thing, right? That is badly effective for the tourism and the peace of the country. Therefore, we must not allow these kind of situations again is in this country, and therefore proper mechanism should be launched by the government, and especially to monitor these kind of thing and protect the peace of the country. Then if you want to get the benefits of the tourism, and also the sub institutions like provincial ministry. Now I know that Mr. Sampath is working hard to promote the tourism in Uva as well as the other provinces also, but now we need that support when you're going to establish the peace. It's not the government's duty at the moment. We need the support with all the institutes, and also government should have the stability. We need a stable government. Now, you know that as business people, you can't take decision without a stable government, right? Because very hard to take perfect decisions. Therefore, we are expecting government to take that actions as a stable government. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Dhananjaya, and thanks for the Uva Wellassa University to inviting us to this fruitful discussion. As a country, we are in a very critical situation. 2 years back, we had to face critical economic condition. To overcome these economic challenges, tourism is one of priority sector in the national priorities. We know our traditional way, our economy is agriculture-based economy, but with the current situation, we have to find some alternative income for as a country. We know the foreign remittance is our first income earner. Secondly, the government and apparel industry. Third one, and I think the most highly potential and fast-growing industry is tourism sector, has become third income earner of the country.
With the all government policy frameworks and national priorities, tourism identified as a top priority. When come to our province, Uva province is the second poorest province. In many sectors, we have many, it's like a lack of development, lack of infrastructure. We don't have major airports, harbors as a landlocked province. So to overcome these challenges, I think that tourism is the primary source and also very highly potential sector. I'm proud to say in the current economic context in our province, tourism achieved a significant development over last couple of years. When compared with other sectors, we are far behind other provinces, but in the tourism sector, now our province is the fourth, we have the fourth largest tourism sector in the country, next to Western province, Southern and Central province. We know as a province we have some natural barriers, we have some, but to achieve as a country we know we have dramatic tourism development during last couple of years. We named as a #1 destinations to travel in 2019 and 2013 according to the well famous Lonely Planet magazine. We know in the world we have more than 200 countries. Out of 200 countries, we are one of top destination. In my point of view, the major factor to become #1 destination is the diversity. We have cultural diversity, natural diversity, high biodiversity. In the future, the biggest advantage or the biggest challenges we have to deal with this diversity. We know since 70s, 80s to 2009, we had to face some terrorism or the ethnic issue. After solve this issue, we can see a significant development since 2009 to 2018. Again, we had to face the East attack incident, then our tourism industry again collapsed. Likewise, to overcome all challenges, I think we have to pay more attention on peace, reconciliation and safety protocols. As already explained, for any tourist, when their decision-making process, select any travel destination, #1 factor is safety and security. To attract more visitors to our country or our province, we have to give assurance about the safety and security. So, in my point of view, in our country, we have there are several key business giants here. In Sri Lanka, is famous. We have many red tapes in the business sector. We know it's doing business in Sri Lanka. It's very challengeable job. In my point of view, the government policies or government sector priority should be not doing business or interference to all tourism sector activities. I think the most important thing is developing an enabling environment. It's like we know the easy to doing business index. We are far behind some regional countries. To overcome, change this situation, as a government, we need to create an enabling environment, and the first priority should be the safety and security. If we can build a safe and secure environment, I think we have tremendous potential as a province, as a country, to attract high number of tourists, and we can, I think that now our tourism arrivals is almost achieved the situation in 2018. I think most probably we can achieve the 4 billion tourists revenue from this year. I think with this current economic challenges, the tourism is a key sector. We need to give our top priority, as well as to achieve a high number of expectation from the tourism industry. We need to give first priority for the safety, security, and the reconciliation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Shalika and Mr. Nishankar. So the next questions will be the extensions of the first question. So I would like to move Mr. Pereira and Mr. Vijay Vikrama. So could you share instances of tourism initiatives from your industry that have successfully contributed to peace building efforts, especially from as a national tourist guide? Yes, could you please share some instances, Mr. Pereira?
Thank you, Mr. Dhananjay, and distinguished guests, as well as all of you. So that's a good question, especially there are many incidents, and before go to the incidents and some examples of what are the instances of the some examples of how the tourism helped to build the peace, and we should know what is the opposite side of the peace. So we are opposite side of the peace. We are discussing about some wars, or in other way kind of a conflicts. And when we think about this, how to build the peace, because when there is a conflict, at the moment, it is not possible to bring any tourism means to there. Because before the conflict, we can take some actions. And after the conflict, we can do something to avoid further conflicts. And this is the importance, because we can't bring the tourists when there is a conflict going on. So that's what we experienced, and all the panel discussed here for during the 30 years war in Sri Lanka. So you all know what was the situation and what was the tourism. And then, so now when the Middle East conflict is going on in the Arabs and in these countries, so even yesterday I read, even the flight routes have changed now. And all these things happen, so we can't bring the tourist in at that moment. So we have to do things before that. And in that sense, we have to think what are the examples we can get from other countries. Especially, I'll bring you to the Croatia. In 1980s, there was a bad war there, and the Yugoslavian Republic, it was disestablished and into different countries, and BIH and the Croatia, and the later even into the Croatia, the NATO bombed the country. So in that sense, so the country was disestablished, and the same people, they started fighting with each other. And also when it goes to the Rwanda, the Hutus and the Tutsis, they started fighting with each other. But now these both countries, they do better than us. So the Rwandans, they trying to do, but the Croatians, they do better than us. Around 20% of their national GDP is coming from the tourism sector, because they have gone through very progressive path to achieve the peace through the tourism, because the tourism, as all you said, it is a very volatile and very sensitive industry. But if you bring economic opportunities to the people, then these people, they don't like to waste their money. They don't like to waste their investment. Another way, the best example, why the US is not attacking China, and why these both countries not attacking each other, it's because of money. Because they are both are the best trade partners of each other. So in that way, if we bring the tourism benefits to the community, they will not like to lose these things. So that is one thing. So when come to the examples of Sri Lanka after the war, in one example we all discuss about the ethnic problem in Sri Lanka. So I don't like to use the term even the civil war for that, and there was different situations. So in that problem, what happened was, after the war, the different investment happens to northern sector of Sri Lanka. The best example, the Mr. Kureva is here, and the Jetpin Jaffna. When they're going there were no employment. So they can't find some employment from that place. But they created some opportunities. Because when the community in that particular area, when they don't find employment opportunities, some returns from the industry, they don't like it. But if you bring something to the community, they like to engage with that.
And actually, when goes to our problem back in the 1970s, even 1950s, especially in the 1970s, when this economic liberalization happens to Sri Lanka, the farmers in the northern sector, they lost their income because a lot of commodities, food supplies came from India. And then what happened? They lost their income and they didn't like the southern government. And that is the one reason why the LTT could plant their seeds of terrorism. So if we bring some benefits to the tourism, then the people like to engage with us. So then I would really honor Mr. Kure and the company, what they did at that moment, so they created. So others took the initiative and they carried out the same thing, and that is the hotel sector. And if I clearly answer the question again, in the travel sector, now there are many travel companies. We go to Jaffna and we engage with the community. We are not just go to a specific luxury hotel and do the tours with them. So we go to the community and we tried, for an example, we like to try the Jaffna crab curry. So that is one of good experience. Now, in this time, the tourism is not just about staying in the luxury places. It's more into the experience-based tourism. So when we go to the experience-based tourism, the community is very important. So we can connect. So the industry, I don't like to mention the companies and the different names here, but there are many companies work there in that sense. And also, another best example is the Arugambe incident, what happened very recently. Even though the embassies and all the things put a lot of alarms and the things about that, the community, directly and indirectly, they support the security services there and they provide the information. Because with this information, we can secure that particular area. So they don't like some, we can say like some external conflict to come into our country. Likewise, there are many things. And another example is the Pico Trail. With the Pico Trail, the tea working community is a marginalized community. So they experience kind of a hardship. So at the beginning, it was like a semi-slavery-like system. So what the British experienced, practiced in Sri Lanka with the plantation sector. But with this thing, and we neglected. And in one day, maybe in the future, they may start another rebellion against Sri Lanka. So if we give some opportunities, especially it should go more into that community level, then they may not like that because they don't like to waste their income. That is the main thing for the day-to-day people, common people, to cover their day-to-day expenses. So in that way, it's many. So we can bring a lot of opportunities with the tourism. Now we are practicing, but we should think more into that. And when come to the investment and all the things, we should help and encourage the community level to start their own. And then it is very important. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Vijay Vikrama.
Yeah, so first of all, I would like to thank my university for inviting me. I'm so honored and I'm so grateful. To answer the question, peace building. In the context of tourism, peace building is all about taking all these actions, activities and initiatives to foster the cultural understanding and to develop these cross-cultural relationships and ultimately to prevent or to resolve conflicts. So in that context, I mean, I believe that this is the high time that we do this panel discussion because globally we are challenged as an industry as well. I mean, the things that happened very recently, we are threatened as well. With regards to the industrial perspective, very recently, SLITO, as the body of inbound operators, SLITO brought peace to this issue of recent VFS, visa issue. You know, initially, the tourists were having a hard time in gaining this visa. So we should thank SLITO and the other industrial stakeholders who collaboratively fought to it. So that's, we as an industry how fought against this conflict of visa issue. So that's one thing. From my perspective, when it comes to the peace building, an underexplored market in the travel industry would be the diaspora community. I mean, I have worked with over 60 plus diaspora tourists over these past 3 years. I mean, let me say, they are very loyal to Sri Lanka. I mean, they have that, even they have that capacity to spend within Sri Lanka. They are a set of quality tourists. Doesn't matter, Sinhala, Tamil diaspora. I mean, I have worked with a lot of Tamil diaspora clients. I mean, even day before yesterday, one of my clients was leaving. He traveled to Sri Lanka within this year more than 4 times. So, I mean, with the issues that we've had in our country with the 30 years of war and relating it with this peaceful encounters in the tourism industry, that is a market that we should focus on because it's underexplored. And also, not only they are having a good time in Sri Lanka, not only they are, contributing to the tourism industry, but also they are giving their best. They are giving their best to the community as well. Not only the Tamil community, but also to the Sri Lankan community. I mean, I have had so many encounters. I mean, even I engage with those community activities with them. Let me say, diaspora tourism market. Diaspora market is one of the underexplored market, and through this market, even when they come to Sri Lanka and they have a good time and they go to their countries, Sri countries, they do that word of mouth marketing. I mean, they become Sri Lankan evangelists in their countries, and they try to put that good word of mouth because they also have that pre-assumptions, negative pre-assumptions about Sri Lanka, what happened during those war times, right? I mean, 50% of those diaspora tourists are not visiting Sri Lanka because of that pre-assumptions that they have in their mind. I mean, there was this one incident happened to one of my colleagues in my company. So she was arranging this tour to this diaspora tourist. He again and again he was asking for a Tamil driver, Tamil tourist guide, chauffeur guide basically. But it was the high peak season, and she couldn't find a Tamil tour guide, chauffeur guide. What she did was finally she had to justify everything and to give that Sinhala chauffeur guide. So once the tour is done, what happened was this client was so satisfied. I mean, he was so satisfied, and he even came to our company and he talked with us. I mean, he actually confessed that he had these all pre-assumptions about Sri Lanka and the community, and coming really coming here and having that experience in our country, he changed his perspective. I mean, diaspora tourism in that sense, and I personally believe that diaspora tourism is one of the tourism that we can foster peace in our country, that we can develop peace in our country. I mean, when they go to their country, they talk with their other diaspora friends, and they even suggest them to come to Sri Lanka, to visit Sri Lanka, and that goes on. So that's my take on that question. Apart from that, I mean, the Pico Trail, I mean, I've also, completed several stages with the founder of the Pico Trail, Mr. Miguel. I mean, Pico Trail is one of the complete and presentable products that we have in our industry. I mean, I know when I'm suggesting something, one of the complete products, it does, it not only offers customers a satisfactory service, satisfactory experience, but also it helps in improving those communities even, right? So ultimately it will be helping the sustainable development of our country as well. So apart from that, I would say all those other initiatives like cross-cultural events that we do, those are also some of the major peace building initiatives that we are doing, and all the other CSR activities that we do in all those areas, the rural areas. Yeah, so those are the initiatives that we have taken, and we have proven success. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vijay Vikrama. So the next question goes to Mr. Professor Shalika. And yes, I want to know about how technology, especially to impact in promoting peace, particularly in terms of communication and awareness, especially from the academic perspective.
Yeah. Now, in the previous panel also, they have discussed about how can the technology influence for the tourism hospitality industry, but my task is to how the technology can be influenced to the peace, right? Now, this is, there are two sides of this. Technology can increase the peace as well as destroy the peace, right? I'm totally agree with, I think you said that. First, we can see what are the ways that we can improve the, what are the ways of using the technology to improve the peace. Now, first thing that we can develop or build online platforms. Now, especially the peace builders in the world, they use this, building online communities, right? They use podcasts, social medias, platforms, and even the forums in the internet as well, in the websites. What they do, they share peace activities. What they do, they share, and sometimes they share articles, and they discuss some topics relating to peace in these platforms. Now they try to spread about the peace among the community through these online platforms, building online community platform. That's one thing that we also can do, especially the younger generations. You are very technology savvy and you are very good in that. You can initiate these kind of online platforms. And also there's another thing that digital dialogues. That's very important, the digital dialogues. Now, some countries are using at the moment, like countries like even the Libya and Yemen. What is that they do? They are trying to get the information from the community, especially the females even, if there are any harassment to them, if there are any issues relating to them, relating to the conflicts, they are directly getting these information through these digital dialogues. The respective parties, authorities, they are getting information. Right? Now, the Libya and Yemen, normally those are the countries that they are having a lot of conflicts, internal conflicts, war situation. Now there are a lot of harassments for the females even, and the community also has suffering from these activities. Therefore, there is a forum for them to complain or share their thoughts using the technology. Now these things are very important to take actions, right? And it creates a forum for them. Right. And also there's another thing, that digital tools, I earlier also mentioned that early warning systems, that's very important thing. And also GIS, geographical information system, that's also we are using at the moment for the tourism. And sometimes detect some locations, some kind of information through that system. For the peace building, it's very important using these technologies. And the latest technology I saw that used by the Colombia, sometimes you are not imagining that, you don't imagine that Colombia can use these kind of things. They use virtual reality, VR technology, especially the Security Council of Colombia. They use that to share the views about the peace and issues relating to the community, and they take those things using the virtual reality, because sometimes you can't walk into those places physically. That's the best way to approach the community using the virtual reality technology. Now these kind of activities are happening in the world. In Sri Lankan context also we can use technology for the peace in that case, and most importantly the young generation, I am giving this right. I'm giving this advice because you are the people who can initiate that. Right? Don't worry about the previous generation, because we should stop another conflict in Sri Lanka, because you have to initiate. Therefore, create some social media platforms, spread the peace among the community with your colleagues, and through social media. That's very important task for the youth. And the other side of the technology, I also mentioned that here, because social media can be utilized to destroy the peace also. If you use hated speech, hated things to the community's culture, you can spread the negative things. Right? That happened, all of you agreed, the last election was very peaceful. Am I correct? But in the social media, it's not peaceful. It's a deadly war in the social media. They are spreading false information. They are spreading they are harassing sometimes the people and telling bad things to some communities because of their votes. But don't do that, because if you do that in the social media, if you're harassing the communities, it is very fearful than the physical harassment sometimes, right? Don't blame for any community or culture using social media platforms for their decisions. Right? That is their duty to take the decision, they are right, and respect all the cultures, communities from the social media. Therefore, that platform is very important. Therefore, government should take actions to mitigate these kind of things, as well as there should be a proper mechanism to monitor these things. We don't want to restrict the social media or something, we don't want to control, but these kind of hatred speech are badly affecting for the country's peace. Therefore, we should monitor those kind of things if it's happening in the social media. That's what I would say on your question, Ganaji.
Yes, Mr. Vijay Vikrama, I want to move the same question. How the technology impact, especially from promoting peace, especially from the perspective of a travel agent?
Yeah, from the perspective of a travel agent, I would say the best technological instrument that we have at the moment is the social media. That is one of the ultimate things that we can use right now at the moment. So we can use social media. I believe we can use it for two functions. First one is to educate. The other one is to celebrate. How we can use it? I mean, to educate, we know, like, not only in Sri Lanka, not only within Sri Lanka that we have this conflict, but also we have conflicts with the tourists as well as our culture even. So education, in the sense, we can use social media to give an understanding about our cultural understanding that we have in our country with the tourists, because you may have seen some of the incidents that have happened in the past, right? Some tourists were, kissing the statues, right? Posing, inappropriately in front of the statues and all that. So we can use social media to engage about this ethical behavior as well. Right now, currently, very recent issue that we have is that several tourism markets have started businesses in Sri Lanka. So that is also one of the key areas that we should focus, because we are losing our revenue, right? We are losing our foreign currency that we are receiving, right? So for that also, we should take an approach which is basically we can use our cultural approach, to educate them, protecting our democracy, protecting our sovereignty, and educating them that this is what you can do as tourists in our country, and this is what you cannot do in our country. So that's one area we can use social media to educate. The other thing is to celebrate. I mean, this is, this celebration thing we do very often, because in our company, whenever there's this kind of cultural celebrations happening, we do some social media campaigns, not in the sense like not focusing as it as a campaign, but also we ourselves involved in these campaigns. I mean, very recently we had this Thai Pongal, so it's also celebrated in the Chennai in South India. So we prepared this video showcasing, and I also danced in that video. After that, not only Kerala, but also some of the North Indian people, talked to us saying that, we both celebrate that. Just now I got to know. So we can use social media to celebrate even, not only within our country, but also with our source markets even. So those are two options that we can use social media. The other thing is that I believe that we should develop is that AR technology and VR technology. As Professor very correctly mentioned, AR technology and VR technology is very often used in the other countries. Especially this AR technology, augmented reality. I guess it was like 2 years before in southern Greece, they have used that application when you visit those heritage monuments. That application, if you open your camera and you explore the site, that application gives you a deeper understanding about all these monuments, restructuring it to the past glory, and it gives tourists, it gives that travelers a deeper understanding about the cultural monuments and the value and the importance of it. I mean, that is one of the bases of building peace, that I believe. But imagine it was launched in Greece 2 years ago. But in Sri Lanka, I've not seen it yet, right? Unless, I have gone to this US embassy. There was this VR technological launching event. So inside the US embassy, they had these all the tourism destinations in our country. They have creatively used that VR technology to give some kind of a tourism experience. So that's how much I have seen inside Sri Lanka, how VR and AR technologies have been used and utilized. I believe even though that technologies have way past in the other countries, I believe that we can use those technologies in our country to enhance the tourism experience. So that is, I believe, how we can use technology to support peace building. Thank you.
Yes, we totally agree with you, especially from how technology impact in promoting peace, especially in communication and awareness. So the next questions I would like to ask from Mr. Nishank. Yes, as a government organization, as a government, what responsibilities do you believe in fostering peaceful environment for travel?
Yes, Mr. Dhananjaya. Peace building is a not easy process. As Mr. Kore explained, it's a bit complex and time-consuming process. We know we have been struggling with the ethnic issue over the more than 30 years period. So our generation especially, we had very bad experience and very sensitive incidents. I think it takes significant time to total recovery. But in the future, at least we can pay more attention on our future generation, especially we can pay attention on our education system. We can get better result. I think we need to plant the seeds and we need to wait until results coming. So the current situation in our country, our education system and our society, it's like a Sinhala schools, Sinhala, the separate religion, separate ethnicity. Likewise, I think we need to pay more attention on peace building, and the government have many key role in this process. In addition to that, today we are talking about the ethnic harmony between the Sinhala, Tamil, or Muslim community, Malay, or Burgher, the local community. But in the future, if we analyze the tourist arrivals, we have diversity of tourist arrivals from Eastern Europe, Western Europe, the Eastern Asia, then South Asia, India, Australia. Likewise, the very diversity of the tourist arrivals. In the future, we have to pay more attention on how to manage with this diversity and the cultural harmony between. We know we are island nations, and we are a bit, it's like our ideologies are a bit close culture, but we need to pay more attention on, we are in a global society, and we need to pay more attention on how to deal with this cultural diversity and how to prepare our next generation for the globe, how empower them as a global citizen. I think it's very important. For that initiative, we need to start from our education system. I think from the school system and the university level, I think we need more researchers, and we need to do some need to analyze the current social context, and need some political changes and some policy changes. As a government authority, the responsibility of the government sector is very important. In our province, we have identified the 16 tourist destinations with their unique features and unique diversity aspects. We try to promote our tourism destination with some authentic tourism experience, and also some we try to share that the economic benefits come from the tourism. We need to we expect fair distribution among the especially the marginalized communities, especially we are one of poor province, and we are large number of population under the poverty line. We try to adapt tourism as a tool to eradicate poverty from our marginalized community. I think, as our colleague Hashan explained, if we can give some economic benefits from the tourism, we can fair and equitable sharing of the benefits, it will automatically create more resilience and harmony between the industry stakeholders. Today, we in the tourism sector, we pay more attention on sustainable tourism. Not only the local community, even tourists, they should pay more attention. They need to identify our cultural values from our policy level. We need to give some attention of initiative to give awareness or educating them about the local cultural values. Then we can develop a cultural harmony or peace building. I think in the tourism sector, I think the all undergraduates, they are studying the tourism related courses. In your studies, you need to pay more attention on how to deal with this, the diversity of the tourist and our culture and the peace building process. I think as a whole society, we have a great responsibility to make a better country in our country, so need a significant change with this process.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nishankar. So, I would like to ask the same questions from Mr. Pereira. Yes, as a tourist guide, what are the responsibilities, especially in fostering or building a peaceful environment for travel and tourism?
As a tourist guide, and yes, so before coming to the tourist guide again, so the tourist guides are work as freelance as well as freelancers, as well as work with the companies. So now we have travel agents, and I by myself I'm operating one agency, and then before contacting tourists and before conveying the tourist and before advertising especially, we are telling the tourists where are you going to visit and which type of environment, which type of context you are going to visit. In that sense, so at the beginning, we are delivering some information for them. What are the things you should understand about the culture? In one way, it will prevent some cultural shocks. In other way, it will reduce some possible cultural conflicts. The one example is when the tourist doesn't know how to visit a temple, and best example is when you go to some East Asian countries, you can take a selfie with the statues. some Buddhist statues or some other statues, you can take selfies. But at there, it is not a taboo and they don't consider it. But when come to Sri Lanka, we don't do that. But the tourist doesn't know that, and if we don't convey that message to them before they're visiting here, that may end up with some conflict. So then we have to think before they come here, what are the things we should convey to them. And in other ways, so I got this question, and again with that I will tell you there are some other things that is important in this context, especially with the government. In the government context, the first thing, they should ensure the security. For the security, no, we don't need the people with the weapons at all the time. We need to ensure the surveillance. That is how the Israel ensured their security, even though now they are attacking each other, so they are getting more information within the terrorist networks too. So that's how they ensure their security. So after the war in 2009 up to the 2019 incident, we got a lot of information through the surveillance. So the government should invest more and they should focus more on these things. In another way, we should establish more reconciliation efforts. And in another way, the government should create very favorable political environment. Under that environment, there should be an environment where we can trust the government. And that is what in the previous panel discussion, there was some statement when the foreign embassies are conveying the message, Sri Lankan people listen to them, but for the Sri Lankan government, they don't listen. The main reason is Sri Lankan government lacks their accountability and their trust. So the Sri Lankan government should increase and they should strengthen this trust among the communities, and what they should do for that. They should be very credible. They should allow the other democratic institutes to operate independently without the political influence. So that is another thing that is important. For the tourists also, before they come here, they search about these things. And when we have that kind of opportunity, all the communities within the country, they believe this is a country, this is where I can invest, this is where I can do my business without any negative impact from the government. If something happened bad, there is a place to go for the justice. In that way, we should create a proper environment. In other way, when come to the now there's another question, point I should bring here, even though it is a little bit away from the question I got about some foreign tourists who do some operations here. So the government is really lacking in this sector. So when the foreign tourists are doing some tourism business here, we have some policies in Sri Lanka, we have laws in Sri Lanka, and there is no way to regulate them. And when we're reporting them, there is no way to regulate, and we don't see any actions. So, and also there are some agencies also, they recruit some of the foreign nationalists to work on behalf of them. And that is especially without the visas. So some are working in that. If this goes further, there will be another conflict within the local community as well as the foreign people who try to come here, and then this will portrayed as another story in the by the international media. So we should address this like many things before, especially when we think about the peace building efforts in the country. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Now I move to the last question, and it is open for all the four panelists. So first I would like to move Professor Charlika. So what are the future directions, especially in higher education institutes, to uplift awareness and understanding of tourism among the community as well as students? What about your thought?
Right. Your question is having two sections. What are the things for the community as well as students? First, I will move to the community. Now, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, UN Sustainable Development Goals, goal number 16, it says clearly promoting a peaceful environment for the society for the sustainable development. As the professionals in the education sector, that's one thing that we have have to do, right? We have to aware the community through the capacity development programs, because there's a need for that. We do at the moment also, but we have to speed up the process, because there's a requirement in the industry. They are expecting a lot of people to come to this industry, because this is one of the solutions for the unemployment in Sri Lanka, tourism sector, right? Therefore, a lot of youth at the moment, those who are not having higher education, they are doing different jobs. Some people are using, after the A-levels, what they do, they take a tuk-tuk and they do that. But that kind of taxi service. But there are a lot of opportunities in Sri Lanka in the tourism sector, rather than doing those kind of easy jobs. Right? I don't know whether it is easy or not, but however, there are some professional jobs that they can enter. That tourism is one of them. Therefore, all these rural area or the suburbs, we have to promote tourism, and through the capacity development programs, at least we have to promote the MSME sector, and at least they can start a small business relating to tourism. It can be a subsection, right? It can be even a taxi, it can be even a small guest house, it can be even a food supply. Whatever it is, they can start their own business rather than working for some kind of multinational companies even, that at least give their contribution, especially the female contribution is very low in Sri Lanka, right? In the tourism sector, that we need to absorb them into the industry. Now, therefore, we need, as professionals, we need to aware them about the tourism, and through the capacity development programs, we have to enhance their skills and the knowledge. That's one thing that we can do with the community. And students, there are a lot of things. You know that as higher education institutes, one thing that I'm suggesting for this government also, we should teach about tourism from the beginning. At least some concepts about the peace, some concepts about the tourism, some concepts about the culture, harmony, those kind of concepts we have to teach to the students from primary level. Then for the secondary and tertiary level, now still tourism has not been included in the A-level stream. I'm proposing to the government, you have to include that as a subject, right? That's true that after O-levels, that sometimes some students who are unable to meet for the A-level needs, therefore there's a subject called tourism hospitality, but that is not enough. And also the tourism should be included for the A-level stream, and especially if you look at the government universities like Sabaragamuwa, Uva, Rajarata, there we have some programs for the tourism, but that is not enough. And also the private sector institutes, there are so many private sector institutes, they are doing degree programs and affiliated degree programs, as well as Ceylon Hotel School is producing most of the operational level and managerial level graduates for the hotel sector, but that is still not enough, because our supply is not enough to cater the demand of the industry, because there is a 10,000 to 15,000 gap. Do you believe that? You all have a very good opportunity. There are a lot of entities, establishments, the tourism hospitality is waiting, right? They need quality people, not only the graduates, even from the operational level employees, other people from the society, they are expecting, but unfortunately people are not aware of that, they are not coming to this industry, therefore we have to promote that. And especially the school level, right? I'm proposing that some schools are now already practicing it, travel clubs. That's very important thing to aware the tourism. You can form your own travel clubs, and you can spread the message of the peace also through that. You can travel to the destination from down south to the eastern province or the the northern province, and you can share your activities with them, spread the peace through this travel club. That's also one of the activity that you can form in school time. And next thing is NVQ. NVQ level program should be strengthened. That therefore, in addition to these universities and schools, the vocational training, that's also a very important thing for the tourism hospitality, and we have to think about that. Now, I am very happy about the government policy. I don't know whether it is implemented or not, but I'm happy about the policy because they have mentioned about the incubator system, right? Tourism incubator system for especially to absorb the people from the community. It's a very good system, very good thing if they can implement it. We hope that they can implement it. And also they are suggesting a tourism research unit. That's also very important for the education sector, not only for us, even for the students, and we can do some research and we can share those information with the industry, like Mr. Dimitri and the other people. Now they need the solution for their business issues. Now our duty is to conduct research and share those information with them, but unfortunately it's not happening in Sri Lanka. In the developed countries it's happening. The education sector and business sectors are integrating each other, they share information. Now this kind of research center can fill that gap. I hope that it will also be a successful one in future. In addition to that, another important thing, that Advanced Professional Training Institute, they suggested in the policy, because I went through the policy very thoroughly, because it's mentioned. That's a very good thing again for the professional development, especially in the tourism hospitality industry. There are many professionals who need higher education, sometimes professional advancement. That institute is creating that opportunity for them also, sometimes international programs. That's very important. And in addition to that, all the education institutes should have collaboration with the industry. I know that most of the universities are having MOUs, but sometimes the MOUs are only documented. They are not implemented. Therefore, MOUs should be implemented, and mutual benefits should be shared between the private sector and public universities, and also international collaborative research. That's another important thing, to study the cross-cultural aspects. Right, cross-cultural aspects, we can study through these intercultural aspects through this international collaboration, international collaborative research, and better to include subjects like intercultural communication, intercultural aspects into your curricula. That's very important to spread the peace even through the curricula. Therefore, curriculum also should be updated, and new things should be included, and we should promote the tourism. And especially if we look at countries like Maldives, they are 80% of economy depends on the tourism. They have universities for the tourism even, but still Sri Lanka we don't have, because this is the third largest foreign exchange earner. But still the priority given for the tourism is, I'm not happy as education is, because we should give more priority for the tourism education. If we want to build this country, within next 10 years, tourism should be given more priority. That's the only option, in addition to the agriculture and the manufacturing sector. Because rather than, I better, finally I must say that we should stop sending our people as foreign expatriates, as a labor force. Because our labor force we should be able to keep in this country, and their productivity should be absorbed to us. We should not send our people as laborers to the Middle East. Right? That is the first, we are giving priority for that as the first foreign exchange earner. It should be avoided. Right? Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Nishankar. So I want to know about what are the future directions, especially focusing on Uva Provincial Tourism Ministry to uplift the awareness and understanding of tourism among the Uva community. Yes, what about your thoughts?
Yes, Mr. Dhananjay. The vision of the Provincial Ministry of Tourism is to leading model for sustainable and inclusive tourism in Sri Lanka, showcasing its blend of natural beauty, cultural richness, and community-based experiences. Especially, we have pay more attention on community-based tourism. We know most of our destinations like Alla, Haputale, it's like a private sector dominated industry, and many our destination we have a very large number of SMEs. We know some other provinces, they have large number of 5-star and high-level properties, but in our province it's like primarily community-based tourism industry, and also local community. They have we know some destination they have some social cultural issues, but with my experience in our province, we have a balanced and sustainable community tourism industry. We know there are large number of SMEs, more than 700. Out of those properties, it's not totally depend on tourism. Sometimes like they run as a family business. One or several members of the family, they do other jobs as well. That is a success factor we have observed. And also the younger generation, they some of they do tourism related activities, but others do their education, and they have well educated generation. So as a province, tourism is it's like a low hanging fruit, but we need to carefully deal with the tourism sector. It is very volatile industry, and there are social, cultural and social aspects we need to pay attention. I think it's very difficult to totally depend on tourism, but we can link our traditional lifestyle lifestyle and our traditional livelihood with the tourism. As example, tea, we have very large land area with tea cover. Tea plus tourism is very successful model. Our Mr. Tenabandhu, he worked with the Pico Trail project. It's the biggest investment for the tourism industry. It's come under the Central Province and Uva Province, but we can expect more benefit from the Pico Trail because the backbone of tourism industry is it's like linked with the upcountry railway line. Most of our destinations like Alla, Haputale, Bandarla, Diyatalava, Idalgassin, Ohia, all are along with the railway line, as well as it's along with the Pico Trail. So it's a huge investment for the tourism industry, as well as the team, Mr. Miguel and Mr. Tenaman, his team has done a wonderful job. As a government, our provincial ministry, we try to capitalize this investment for our future. That is our top priority. In addition to that, as Mr. Rangan said, we have identified many quality related and capacity development gaps to make a better tourism industry. We need to pay more attention on training and capacity development, and also we need to give more focus on quality tourism rather than just counting numbers. So as a ministry, we pay more attention on the sustainable and inclusive tourism industry. We need to attract superior talents. If we can develop a significant change, we need to attract superior talents, and with your expert knowledge and new researchers and technology, we can expect a better future in the sector. Thank you.
Yes, I would like to move Mr. Pereira, the same questions. Yes, what about your perspective, especially on as a tourist guide lecturer?
Thank you, Dhananjay. I agree on the points that shared by Mr. Nishanka. So he's doing a tremendous job with the Ministry of Tourism over, and because under really hard, when we see even with some bureaucratic situations, they are doing really good job under that provincial ministry. So anyway, when come to the question, so there are different things. The first thing is we should focus more on the sustainable tourism. So under the sustainable tourism, it's not just about the nature. We always think, we have to think about the socio-cultural environment, especially the interpretation and education related things. Because that is the point that we can create a lot of new opportunities, new businesses in related with the experience-based tourism. So there are many tourists that comes to Alla, and we have one problem. So I use the term Alla because that is the main destination in this province. There are many, but naturally it is a demand-driven destination in our province. So then in that we have opportunity. That is that in one way it becomes a sourcing market for other destinations around Alla. The one example, Badulla, Haputale and other regions, Vallavaya, so like. So then we don't have a strategy to increase their number of stays in Alla today. So for that, we can create more experience-based tourism activities. In that sense, we can use the community for that. And if we link the community with this, they link with the tourism and they build up their income along with the tourism. And even though there is, let's say there is a possibility of some conflict in this region, these things can be avoided. We can mitigate these things because the people doesn't like to bring any problems inside their community because they are really dependent on the tourism. In other way, even though we built a lot of these things, we need to advertise them, and then we should have a proper channels to do that. And overall in Sri Lanka, we are lack of some patriotic media. That is, we are really lacking. So when compared to our neighbor India, they are really ahead of us in this sense. But in Sri Lanka, we don't have, and that's why when we have a problem in Arugambe or somewhere, there are a lot of news that bringing some negative impacts to the tourism, but they don't tell about the other things, like especially when we don't have anything, still the tourists think about these problems. And then we don't have channels to bring tell these things out. So that is really important to have some positive tourism in Uva. We should deal with some channels, we should deal with some international media, and that is where the government or the provincial authorities should invest their marketing budget, especially when come to the bloggers and the social media people. So we need them to join with the tourism industry. And very before this, we should have a kind of a trained people, and the tourism industry should invest on the training and development, not the same program continuously. There should be a career path for any person who join with that particular field. Let's say the one example is, if it is at the hotel sector, there should be a proper way to learn. There should be a career path. If it is a guide, there should be a way to do that. And we don't need to do the same program all the time in that exact region. Then we will be saturated with that particular employees. So there are things we should think about that. And also, as the university graduates and some especially undergraduates, you can do many things. Please travel. You have more time in this part of your life, and after this you will be very busy. You will be busy with many things, and this is your golden opportunity to travel. And I think the university is the best place to have more reconciliation, to understand the different people's opinions. So you have the friends from the north, you have the friends from the east, you have the friends from the south, and join with them and visit their places and share these things among your social media platforms, so your social media accounts, and share this with some hashtags, and the people in the country as well as the international community, when they search, your post may be there. So that will help. Even it is a small step, but you can help do that. And in other way, if you perform and if you become a mastering of these things, in one day you can organize some tours to this particular different regions. So that will create opportunity. You can start your own business. And so that is the purpose of the establishment of our university. So you can start something by your own, and you can create some employment opportunities. So this is very easy. You can think out of box. Please think and start something new and different. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And yes, finally, I want to move Mr. Vijay Vikram as one of our Pride alumni member. Yes, what do you think? What are the future directions, especially for our students to focus on?
Yeah, so basically, from the travel and destination management company's perspective, I would say we still need young talent to the industry, basically in terms of creativity and innovation, right? The other thing is that Professor very correctly mentioned about this gap between the industry and the academia. So, I mean, of course, like our university system is doing a very good job in bridging that gap, but we still need more initiatives to bridge that gap. And also, from the travel perspective, I would say we need to give that awareness of travel, especially in terms of career inspiration. We should provide career inspiration awareness and career inspiration trainings to the undergraduates, because most of the undergraduates who are graduating, they actually don't know the real scenario in that career. Once they get into the career only, they get that full depth. Of course, I mean, it is 100%, we cannot assure that, but let's say, at least they need to know what they are doing and why they are doing. Then only how to do it will come to their minds. So that thing we need to think about. And the other thing is that even I also, have started this, I personally started this initiative of training. The school level, in the Western Province, there's this, these subjects. 3 subjects have been introduced: hospitality, tourism, and events management. Subjects are in the A-level level. So I have this initiative. I'm still finding sponsors and the resource people to implement the project, to give that career inspiration to them. Yeah, so I believe that is what we need to foster. That is, we need to give it to the students basically, and if we can do that, we can develop the next generation of our industry professionals from our universities and from our students and from our community. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Vijay Vikrama. So we had a fruitful discussions, and I think there are a number of questions available from audience, but due to the time limitations, I would like to give you one chance from the audience. If you have any questions from the audience, the panel members, you can ask from them. Yes, one member will get that chance.
Good afternoon, respected panel members. So I have one question to ask from Mr. Sampath Nishanka sir. Sir, how does the ministry plan to support the theme of tourism and peace to encourage different communities? I mean, like indigenous people and Sinhala and Tamil people to engage and promote harmony of different cultural groups in Uva province, sir?
Thanks for your question. I would like to say like this. I think with the tourism development, automatically we can see this cultural harmony. We know one example is Alla tourist destination. There are a large number of Sinhala, Tamil, sometimes Muslim community. They work with harmony. No any ethnic issue or cultural gap between it's like Alla is an international destination. As I already explained, the Sri Lanka is a little bit closed society, and we are afraid to link with the globe. But Alla is a global destination. There are diverse people from different countries, different religions, different ethnics. I think no any incidents happened up to now. But as a government sector, our first priority, we need to create a enabling and it's like a peace and resilient environment for visitors. With the current incidents happened in the Arugambe and some destinations, I think the government paid first priority and take immediate actions to create safe and secure environment for the visitors. In the local context, I think we need to, I think it's automatically we can see some positive changes. I don't think very strong involvement or some hard involvement. I think peace and reconciliation is a very soft and emotional process. I think most important thing, Mr. Dimitri Kure also explained about the national branding and sometimes some promotional and awareness programs. As a country, we need to develop one country, one nation, like an emotional bond between the communities. That is the very important. So as a province, we also don't like to separate any ethnic groups from the tourism. We try to promote the indigenous tourism, some tourism, especially connect with the Tamil community, I think it's very hard to separate each others. I think the tourism is a bridge to build the peace and the cultural harmony between communities.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Nishanka. So I think we had a fruitful sessions, the ceremonial event and the panel discussion the previously we had, and these as well, the peaceful encounters, tourism as a pathway to understanding, focuses on role of government, travel agencies and educational institutes to promote safe travel through tourism. So as one of the leading university in Sri Lanka, tourism university in Sri Lanka, so especially you are the future of this industry, so you have to do a lot, especially focusing on promoting tourism as well as developing, as panel members say, the brand of tourism in Sri Lanka. So once again, I would my sincere gratitudes all the panel members, especially Professor Rangana Shalika, Mr. Sampath Nisanka, and Mr. Hashan Pereira, and Mr. Suraj Vikram Singh for focusing on the role of government and travel agents, educational institutes to promote safe travel through tourism. Once again, on behalf of the Department of Tourism Studies, Faculty of Management, Uva Wellassa University, my sincere gratitudes to all of you all. And Naini, Oshan, yes, the microphone is over to you to continue this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear panel members, for your insightful contributions given towards the discussion. Your expertise and perspectives have added immense value to this event, and we are truly grateful for your time and knowledge. Now, as a gesture of our gratitude, we would like to present tokens of appreciation to our esteemed panel members. For that, we would like to invite Mr. Dhananjay Navaratna, Head, Department of Tourism Studies, to present the token of appreciation. To accept the token of appreciation, I'm honored to invite Professor Rangana Shalika, Professor in Tourism Management, Department of Tourism Management, Faculty of Management Studies, Bogoda University of Sri Lanka. Mr. Sampath Nisanka, Chief Executive Officer, Uva Tourism Promotion Bureau, Assistant Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Uva Provincial Council.
Mr. Hashan Pereira, National Tour Lecturer, Founder, Travel Thieves Private Limited. Mr. Suraj Vijay Vikrama, Senior Executive, Tangerine Tours Private Limited.
Once again, thank you very much, dear panel members, for your valuable contributions. And, dear Dhananjay sir, please be kind enough to remain on the stage for a while. At this moment, we would like to respectfully invite Mr. Dhananjay Navaratna, Head, Department of Tourism Studies, to receive a token of appreciation for his invaluable leadership and contributions. To present that, I invite Ms. Vindhya Hevage, Lecturer, Department of Tourism Studies, the Academic Coordinator of World Tourism Day Celebration 2024, to the stage. Thank you, madam.
As we close our celebration today, I hope you will leave with a renewed appreciation for the role of tourism in fostering peace and unity.
Your presence has made this event truly special, and we are grateful to have shared this meaningful experience with you. Thank you for being part of World Tourism Day Celebration 2024, and also we look forward to meeting you all in World Tourism Day Celebration 2025 under the theme of Tourism and Sustainable Transformation. Have a wonderful day ahead.